Hey guys, welcome to CodeLearnX. So I'm back with another video. Today in this particular video I will discuss a very famous Python interview question, that is what is namespace in Python. So before we dive deep into the video, first we make sure that you guys understand keywords. So keywords are some predefined and reserved words in any programming language. So in Python also we have some reserved predefined keywords that have a special meaning and that are used for the syntax of the coding. So basically we have some reserved keywords that we use to just whenever we write a program that help us in writing the program, that is for loop. Whenever we need for loop in the program, that is the reserved keyword for. When we have some logical operators, we have and, or. These are the reserved words in Python, and in any other programming language we also have some reserved keywords, reserved words that have some special meaning, that are reserved for the syntax of the coding. So the reserved keywords cannot be used as an identifier or the function name or the variable name. So because these are the reserved by the programming language itself, so we cannot use it as an identifier, or we cannot name a function on that reserved keywords, or we cannot use as a variable name. So here comes the what is the identifier. So first let me show that there are 33 keywords in Python 3, and here on your screen you can see that this is the list of 33 keywords which is available in Python. And one thing is special about these keywords, that all are in lowercase. You can see all are in lowercase except for the true and false, that is in the title case. So in Python keywords are generally in the lowercase except for the true and false, which are in title case. So you guys can remember this, that case except for the true and false. So after keywords we should understand the identifier. So what is identifier? Identifier is nothing but the name used to identify a variable or a function or method or a class or a module name. So you guys know in Python everything is an object. So to identify that object we give some name. So that's why these are called as identifier, because we give names to identify objects. That's why these are called as an identifier. So in every programming language there are certain rules of creating identifiers. So in Python also we have some certain rules to write identifier. So identifier is nothing but the combination of characters, digits and underscore. So we have characters, we have alphabets A to Z. So in small cap and capital cap we have we can use those 26 characters. In digits we can use 0 to 9 characters. In digits we can use 0 to 9, and only one special character is allowed for the creation of identifier, that is underscore. No other than underscore a special character is allowed for the creation of identifier. So we can identifier should always start with a character or underscore. We cannot start with a digit. That is the rule in the Python. You cannot start a identifier name with a digit. So here I have shown some valid identifiers. You can see that we have started with here I have started with the var underscore 1, var underscore 1. These are the valid identifiers. Here you can see on the screen. And here we have some invalid identifiers. We have used this exclamation mark, that is invalid, that you cannot use a special character in identifiers other than underscore. So here in this second example, here I have used started 1 as an identifier, so that is also invalid. So here are some invalid identifiers you can see over here. So now coming back to our main topic, that is namespace. So namespace is nothing but the collection of names, or you can say that the collection of identifier. So in Python we use name and identifier very interchangeably, so you guys don't confuse with it. So whenever I call names, you understand I am calling as identifier. So Python has an inbuilt system that it implements namespaces as dictionary. So if you can imagine it of as name to object mapping, where names are the keys and the object are the values itself. So I will take an example, a real life example, so you guys can correlate it with very easily. So suppose you have a big family and you have lots of members in your family. So in your family every member have a unique name. You don't have two guys or two members with a same name. So if so, in your family you have two person with same name, when you call a person name, so both person will get confused that whom they are calling. So you try to avoid giving one name to two different person in your family. So whenever a newborn baby comes to your family, at that time also you try to give a unique name. You don't give a name that is already taken by another family member. So you give it a different and unique name. So in the future, when you call him or call her by its name, her name or his name, he will or she will respond back. So in our family we take care of this because this is on a very small level, so you very easily take care of this. So when you write a very long Python program, so you also try to give the uniqueness or unique names to every object, but when it is very large, it gets messy. So we are the humans, we might occur mistakes, we can commit mistakes, and we give same name to two different objects. So Python said it's okay, so you don't worry, I have an inbuilt system, so I will take care of the namespaces. The names you are used in Python, I will alert you, and whenever you want to see that what are the names so far you have used in your program, you can come back and check my dictionary, and I will say what are the names, what are the identifiers you have used so far in your program to identify any object. So that how it works in Python, and that how it is namespace in Python. So another question comes to our mind is that how do we see our namespaces in Python? So in Python we have some methods, or we can say that some of the functions we have in Python that return the dictionary of the module namespace. So when you use globals, it will return a dictionary of the module namespace. When you use locals, it will always return a dictionary of the current namespace. Suppose you are writing a function, or suppose you are creating some class, so inside that it will only return dictionary of that current namespace or the function, you can say that function or the class. So another method we have is vars. It always returns a dictionary of current namespace if you do not pass any object to it, and when you pass an object as an argument to that vars function, it will return the dictionary of that object only. So I know it's a lot of theory, you guys might have confused, so I will take to the IDLE, and there I will show how you can implement all those things, how you can access namespaces in Python practically. So now let's come to our IDLE. So here I have opened my Python IDLE, and there is nothing written. I have not created any object, any function, anything. I haven't imported any modules. So I have told in the previous slide that we have built-in namespace. So how do we check that built-in namespace? You just write globals in this Python cell, and you will see the built-in namespace. But it globals returns a dictionary that has a built-in namespace. These are the keys. That is the name underscore is the key, and this value currently is empty. So when you create a module, and there you call that globals, and then it will return the name of that module. So here I am creating an string object, and I am giving is an identifier. A is nothing but an identifier, and to that string object. So I am creating a snaps. So when I press A, it will give me this string object. So now when I click locals, it will return a dictionary of the local namespace. So here we have see that we have a identifier A in our current local namespace, and it also returns the value of that key. So key is an identifier, and name is an identifier as a key, and its value is the string object, that is CodeLearnX. So here I am doing is I am creating another integer object with same name. That is, I am giving an identifier A also, that integer object also. Let's suppose say I am creating an integer object with value of 5. So what will it do is I am just violating the rule, and I am just we should give a unique identifier, but what I am, for your reference, I am giving same identifier, and let's see how it identifier, but what I am, for your reference, I am giving same identifier, and let's see how it works in Python. So I have just no error, and it
takes an integer object and assign to that identifier. So when I want to access A, so I just press A and hit enter. It will give the integer object, the value of CodeLearnX. When I have created this integer object, what it does, it forgets that previous string object and creates a new object with identifier A. So when I check locals namespace, we can only see the integer object. We have A and its value is the 500, that is a integer object associated. So currently in our namespace we have these built-in namespace and we have A in our namespace. So we cannot use A as an identifier to store new object. So when I have to give a different identifier, suppose this time I am giving B as an identifier, I am storing the value of CodeLearnX. So that's it. So when I press B, it will give me the CodeLearnX. When I press A, it will give me the 500. When I check the local namespace, locals, it will give me the dictionary, and here you can see that we have two different objects, integer objects, and its name is A, key is A, and we have a string object and its name is B. So in this way, till now in our program we have this much identifier or this much names, and this is the namespace, Python built-in namespace, which keeps track of all objects and their names associated with it. So now we are done with the objects. So now first let me create a function. So you know def is the keyword, and the previous slide I have showed there are 33 keywords in Python that are used. Def is the keyword, and the previous slide I have showed there are 33 keywords in Python that are used for the syntax of the coding. That is how you use them. So def is the reserved keyword. We cannot use that as an identifier. When you want to create a function, you use this def keyword. So I am creating a def function and giving its identifier def3. What this function will do, it will accept an input integer object and it will add 3 to that object, and it will print, okay, it will print after adding 3 to number, it becomes n plus c. Okay, so in this function I am also printing the namespace of this function, so I have to call local. So I'm done with my function. When I call locals, you can see that we have this. We have A, that is our integer object. We have B, that is a string object, and we have another name, that is add 3 inside our namespace, and it shows that this is its value is a function add 3 at this memory location. So only this function name is in our local namespace, or you can say that we have a global namespace. So global namespace will also return same things. Okay, so in global namespace also, because we are not dealing with the model, when you create different modules, then when you call locals, then that will print the local namespace or the objects which are in that local namespace. So here when I call this function add 3 and I'm passing 17 as argument, it will return, after adding 3 to the number, it becomes 20. So 17 returning the namespace of this function. So inside this function we have an n is an identifier, and it's referring to the an integer object whose value is 17, and we have created another object, integer object, and it is identified by the name C. So C is the another identifier and its value is the integer object, which is 3. So this is the way in your program you can access all the names till so far you have used in your program. So there are 3 methods or functions, you can say, by which you can access the dictionary which will give the name and their value. So at times when your program got bigger, so it will give a huge number of names and their values, so it will look messy on your screen. So there is a dir function that will only return the names, not the values of that namespace. So when I press dir, it returns only the names. Till so far in our global or local namespace we have 3 names: A, add3 and B. A stores the value of integer object, that is 500. Add3 is a function, so it stores the definition of the function at this particular memory location. And we have another names B, it stores the string object CodeLearnX. So when we want to access the names we have used inside our function, that way we can also access those things. So let me copy this function and I'm pasting it here. And what I'm doing is, beside calling locals, I'm calling dir over here, dir. So I'm done with my function, and I will call this add3. This time with I'm passing 34. I'm passing 34 inside this, and it will return, after adding 3 to the number, it becomes 37. So 34 plus 3 is 37, and it has a name. It will return a list, and it will say that in this function we have so far used 2 names, that is C and that another is N. So C stores the value of integer object, that is 3, and N stores the value of integer object which is passed by the function. So this is the way you can access the names currently you have used in your program by dir function, and you can also access the dictionary, the name, key and value pair of that program you have used so far in your program by pressing the globals, locals or queries function. So I hope I made it clear to you, so you guys have understood the concepts of namespace theoretically and practically also. So if you like the video, you like the content, please like the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel so that if I upload further, so you get notified and you can watch this also. So thanks for the watching, guys.